order to get the food that they need. SNAP Ed, so SNAP Education, has been completely defunded. That's just done now. So that's going to be affecting health too. That's a huge problem. And then the other area that's been hit is conservation. You know, Christine here was talking about how there's a lot of conflicting information that we're seeing out there. This is case in point. In literally one article I was reading, it says that the bill continues long-term funding authority for USDA's major conservation programs. And then literally in that same article, it says, according to the Congressional Budget Office, these adjustments collectively result in a net reduction of $1.8 billion in conservation spending over the next decade. Make it make sense. It just doesn't. And I think this is the thing. They're trying to make it look like they're giving us stuff, but when it actually puts into practice, we're not going to be the ones benefiting. Rural people are not going to be the ones that are benefiting from this. It's going to be big-time farmers, and an example of why they're the ones that are going to be benefiting from that is a lot of the money that would have gone towards SNAP that they're supposedly saving is now going to be going toward farm bill programs and crop insurance funding. So what that's going to be doing is that it's going to, farmers that grow the crops that are eligible for those sorts of payments, which are only about 40% of farmers that grow those crops here in Ohio, and then the top 10% of those farmers collecting nearly 3/4 of those payments. So in Ohio, when you increase the funding for reference prices and decrease funding for SNAP cuts combined, all 88 Ohio counties stand to have a net loss in federal funding. I'm going to end it there just because we're out of time. 5 minutes goes by fast. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you all for coming out and the organizers for putting together yet another wonderful event. It's both incredibly difficult and incredibly easy to sum up the Trump-Stephen Miller immigration agenda in 5 minutes. Difficult because it would take hours to describe each twist of the knife as this administration gleefully shivs immigrants and removes their rights. Easy because their policy can be summarized in one sentence: work to remove every fundamental civil and human right that immigrants possess under U.S. and international law. This includes their right to free speech, due process, protections against unlawful search and seizures, prohibitions on cruel and unusual punishment, the right to consult a lawyer, and so on. The administration's masked enforcers are not just seizing those without proper authorization, but individuals whose asylum cases are ongoing, immigrants holding green cards, men and women who are in court literally to sign their naturalization papers. So let me highlight only a few questions that our absent Ohio senators need to address. 1, Trump has said that his deportation efforts would focus on the worst of the worst, the criminals who make this country less safe. It is now painfully clear, especially after Stephen Miller demanded that agents arrest 3,000 immigrants a day, that the majority of those swept up in ICE raids are not criminals. According to the Libertarian Cato Institute, 65% of those detained are not criminals, and 93% have no violent convictions. So who then is being arrested? The nurses and caregivers who have been here 30 years, the bagel shop owners, restaurant servers, in short, our neighbors. Senators, answer this: why, for the love of God, are our communities safer when ICE deports the father of 3 U.S. Marines or a 6-year-old with cancer? 2, Trump asked for and you senators approved a budget-shattering bill that shoveled $76.5 billion to ICE, 10 times their current budget, making it the largest law enforcement agency in the country. And unlike other law enforcement agencies, ICE operates totally under Trump's authority. We are now daily witness to this private army swarming the halls of federal courts, Home Depots, churches, and public parks, their faces and their identities hidden. Can you tell me, senators, what is democratic about kidnapping people on the streets, hustling them into unmarked cars, and shipping them off to detention centers far from their homes? Can you tell me, senators, why you want universities to prohibit student protesters from wearing masks, but are perfectly comfortable with ICE agents hiding their faces and their identities while acting as a marauding gang on our streets? 3, Trump claimed that his administration was focused on unauthorized immigrants. So do you support this decision to further inspect all 55 million non-residents who hold legitimate visas? Do you support his promise to screen every future visa applicant for what he considers anti-American views, which we know means any view contrary to his own? Can you tell me, senators, why a country whose very motto is "from the many, one," now treats immigrants as vermin when they literally built this country? 4, senators, how on earth do you defend the performative cruelty of an administration which brushes off the brutal reality of mass incarceration by employing cutesy labels such as alligator Alcatraz or Cornhusker Clink? What does it do to this nation's soul when you make fun of immigrant women crying as they are let off in handcuffs by turning them into an LOL social media meme? Do you actually want your children to laugh at the kids in their class whose parents, you know, the ones who ran the local restaurant for the last 20 years, are taken away in handcuffs by ICE? Finally, senators, how do you feel about chowing down on hamburgers and pork ribs at the next week's Labor Day picnics, knowing that the administration you support is at this minute chasing after those meatpacking workers and those farm laborers who have made your picnic possible? Does this make America great, or will it just make us all more impoverished in body and spirit? So let me just close by pointing out something you probably didn't count on when you signed on to Trump's demand to put a target on every immigrant's back. In towns and communities across Ohio and across America, people are coming together to fight for their immigrant neighbors. All over this country, people are becoming aware that those who put a match to the Constitution and stuff the Bill of Rights into a shredder are the real criminals. And in Ohio, from Springfield to Toledo, those who actually care about this state are shouting, "No more ICE raids. You cannot take our neighbors and expect us to stand around without fighting back." No, senators, we will not be silent, and we will not be defeated. Thank you.